So Team 8231 here, back with you part 2 on the GLE63 C292. Cool car, just not really a nice example, it's pretty rough. If you haven't watched part 1 already, go watch that first. But we're going to get straight into it. Right now, we've taken the door apart, waiting for the harness to arrive, which will be here tomorrow or the day after. So the door's over there fully opened up. What we have done is we've done an oil change, and that's worked well so far. Oil's all nice and clean, but every time you run it and it gets warm, it's got a lovely sweet coolant smell, which is just beautiful, as you'd expect. And the cause for that is, from what I can find anyway, the water pump, the turbo cooling lines attached to the water pump leaking. They commonly have issues. They're black plastic connections, which obviously is, I guess, in the name of weight saving, I guess. You wouldn't find that on a 113K or a 113 or a 112 or even the 156, if I'm correct, doesn't really have many plastic fittings for cooling, which is good. But what we're doing today is replacing 4 lines. So we've got a feed line, a return line on each bank 1 and 2, and they all connect into the front of the engine here. And currently this car has a lovely oil leak. When she gets warm, she's not warm enough yet, to be honest, but you can just see the remnants down the front there of coolant. So we're going to clean that up and have a bit of fun pulling it apart. So basically we're taking all this off, taking the air intakes off, taking these charge pipes off, and there's 4 of them. See, there's an upper and a lower. It's a pre and post intercooler. And we're going to be removing as well the cooling fan here. We've got our AC lines too, so they're going to be a bit of a pain in the ass to get around. Are they AC lines, Matt? No, they're not AC lines, are they? What is this? Is this an AC line? Sorry, I'm confused now. This isn't an AC line, this is something else. This is running to... Oh, sorry. It's what I did think it was in the back of my head. It's the roll control ABC fluid supply. It's quite thick pipes. I wonder how much fluid it uses. But our pump's down in here, just under our cover in here. We just need to move those out of the way. We might even just unplug them as well. We'll just see how we go. So we'll take these intakes off, pull this whole intake system off, and then I'll start using WIS to dig into removing these charge pipes, because I haven't actually touched much of the M157 before. I've only touched another one, which is on my channel at E63s, but they'll be no doubt very similar, if not exactly the same for the most part. But yeah, this car's just got those ABC lines, so it makes it a little bit more tricky to get into things, because you've got big lines here in the way. But ultimately I imagine we could disconnect them as well, but we'll see how we go. It's just one big line here going into the pump, so we probably could just remove it, to be honest. Drain it and remove it. Anyway, let's get on time lapse and start moving. So team, we've got the intake off, we've taken off the, I've just manually pulled this one off and plugged it. But basically, first off, what we need to do to actually get these pipes out is we need to disconnect the oil cooler feed line. So these 2 Torx bolts here, here's the oil filter housing, so these need to come off, and they're basically large pieces of aluminium pipe, but they're hoses at the bottom, so we should just be able to freely pull them to the side. And then I'm picking, we're going to have to pretty quickly drain the coolant out of here as well. I think while I'm here, I'm just curious, I'll look at the workshop manual more, but I think we're just going to end up pulling out, just very gently, these ABC hoses as well. I'm just trying to figure out what this here is. Oh, okay, so wait, that's an ABC hose there. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what this one is here. I'm assuming it's some sort of coolant line from the front of the motor here. It goes out to the front. I imagine there's another cooler here, possibly for the turbo system. Maybe, looking at it, yeah, maybe that actually links back in there. This could be the intercooler cooling line as well, which runs off of that reservoir there. So I think we'll be disconnecting a little bit of this. Right team, so we've got the charge pipes, intake pipes for the turbocharger off. So obviously we've got our turbocharger up here, down here, coming up into the intake, and then once it's been pressurized, it's coming out of this pipe here and then into the intercooler, which is in the middle here, and then it goes straight into the intake manifold. I think it's separate, but it's sort of like one unit in the middle there that does it all, getting things out. So both bank 1 and bank 2, the bigger pipes, the big pipes, they have all similar little mounting Torx bolts like that, and they either screw in here. Oh well, yeah, sorry, the big one on this one's there. The one on the bank 2 is, I think, this one. It's one of those two anyway. I think it's that bottom one. So undo those, and those will allow you to take off these pipes here. And this side was easy. I thought this side was going to be harder because there's sort of a little bit more going on down here, but it was easier. So you're just loosening the clamp at the bottom and then just gently wiggling your way out. Just be mindful of these bloody fragile plastic vacuum lines. Go to each bank for each turbocharger, is from what I can tell. Just make sure you don't nick them anywhere. But basically, as you would have seen, you're sort of weaving that pipe out of this area here and sticking it down onto where you can see that piece of cloth where I've hooked it back up again. So this side took a lot more jimmying to get the bastard off. It was a pain in the fucking ass, to be honest. Excuse my language. Just gently wiggling it to get it off. Same with this inner one here. It's got a connection point down here, see? And it's got one further up as well. Where is it? Yes, that's the lower one, and that's the upper one. And that one's flat beside here, so yeah, that one's there as well. So each of the smaller ones here and here are 2 bolts, and the outer pipes are just 1 bolt mounting at the top with your clamp. Just make sure you cover those holes up, guys, and make sure you just don't let anything fall into anything. Tilly, oh, he's a good doggy. What was I saying? Sorry, just make sure that you plug them up. Also be careful with these oil lines here. So I've taken one of the hoses out and I've put a yellow stop plug in it that I've luckily got on hand. But you know, like your ABC line here, I've disconnected it. I was also contemplating disconnecting this line which goes to the intercooler. It's definitely full of water, but if you're going to pull it off, you make sure that no water starts falling into the bloody oil system there. For now, our next step, from what I can tell, would likely be removing the belt through the tensioner, which is down there by the crank pulley, and also probably just removing this cap. Oh shit, that's a solid bloody pulley on there, eh? I'm assuming we can remove actually this cap here, and then we could probably actually loosen the bolts on that ABC pulley, take the belt off, and then take the bolts off this pulley and remove it, possibly, just so that we've got a little more visual access, which we will, if we take this ABC pulley off, we'll have very clear access to the water pump and our thermostat, which is just here as well. You can see I'm wrapping it up for today, but let's continue. Right team, back into it, another day. I went and bought, oh man, where is it? I'm not bringing it. I went and bought a little 3/8 breaker bar. I'm hoping that it's sort of thin enough profile that I can chuck our appropriate Torx thing on it and give us enough room to crack off the turbo line bolt. I might be wrong. That's where we're at. So what I'm going to do first is just try and take off this cap on the ABC pump here, this little black, and then we'll loosen up the pulley bolts, and then we'll take the belt off. So on the 157 there's just simply the little pulley bolt down there. You can see on camera, a 16mm socket usually, and that'll allow us to take this belt fully off. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a specific way it likes to go, but we'll get it off anyway and we'll put it on later. I'm picking we're also going to have to unfortunately remove the ABC pump here, just to give us really plenty of room to get that thermostat and water pump out. And as I say, I also wouldn't mind taking out the whole fan here as well, the whole fan. There's a power cable for it. Unclips from down here, just a few bits, but actually that might slide out with not too much effort now. So I might pull that out too. So we'll just start with this belt for now anyway. Right team, so we've got the radiator fan out. It was a little bit of a pain in the ass to pull out. You've just got to watch out mainly for these cooler lines here for the transmission. So to be honest, if I was to do it again, I'd probably just pull these little rubber caps off and I'll just undo these. There's a little pin there, see, you can just see the back of it. Down below, but underneath it here where my finger is, there's a little tab that you can pull with a little puller like that. And just very gently pull it back and it will release the line so you can remove it. And that way, yeah, you can pull the line out, the transmission line out, and that'll let you move these lines out of the way to pull the fan out. But I just gently wriggled that out all the way myself. Also, this oil line here for the engine oil does free up when you get it out of the way. Again, we've gently pulled off this coolant hose here, being very careful not to crack or break any plastics. And it's a bit of a bitch, to be honest. When I put, I don't know if you need to do it to get this radiator hose on, this oil line back on, the fan on, you can see there by default this is blocking that tensioner pulley there. So unless you've got a real long 14 mil ratchet, you can't really get to it too easily. But anyway, so here's our arrangement of coolant lines. We've got this little sort of junction here that has a connection hose here. I actually pulled this hose here off to drain the car's coolant. I think there's a little valve below here where my finger is again. I think that's what WIS is referring to as the proper point to drain from, but I don't know how you get anything up there to open the valve. And actually, as well, that's the little valve down there, see? The one on the radiator. So you can open that there too. Now, if we just look closely, I'm just putting big money on our leak coming from that hose right there. Just find camera focuses a bit better. There we go. Yeah, so in there is our water pump and our thermostat and the rest of everything there that basically gives us access to the lines that go to the pump. So in reality, you'll see the two lines on the left here. They're actually not too bad. They've just got a bit of oil build-up on them from up the top cylinder cover here where this magnet's leaking. This side's actually not too bad. Even that connection there is okay. It's really just that sucker in there, which I think is made up of two separate hoses. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to look at the workshop manual again and just double check what screws I'm removing here. I'll zoom out. And what we're going to start doing is just removing these screws and getting this stuff out of the way. I was thinking I was going to have to remove the ABC pump here, but hopefully not. I don't think we have to. But yeah, we'll just start pulling all the real obvious ones off, just so we know where to pull things from. I'm picking we're going to have to probably though take it off. We're going to have to at least take these pulleys here off, which actually aren't too bad. Like even the water pump pulley, there's not much play in it and there's no noise. All of these pulleys don't make any noise, so that's good for the customer at least, I guess. I'd still replace them personally if it was my car, but never mind. The hose is like melted a little bit, which is weird. But yeah, so what we're going to do, team, is get cracking into that right now. Right team, so we've got bank 1 and bank 2. Well, the bolt's loose for a start. Those are just little short bolts, these ones here. So just little short torque bolts. This side's definitely the hardest, so the way to get this bolt out on this side is using your, I've just got a very nice small little stubby Milwaukee 3/8 with my, obviously it doesn't have to be a 3/8, but I've got a 3/8 with the correct T10 in like that. And basically I've gone in through this gap between the AC hose and the turbo lines are just down here, so you're just trying to weave your way in there to get your socket onto the side of that nut, and then you're cracking it counterclockwise, is mastering the art of holding the socket, the T10, where I just hit it, where did I put it? Mastering the art of having the T10 in my hand and just trying to get it on the nut for a start, on the screw for a start. Then I've gone and slotted my hand down here into it, and while I've got my fingers holding this, I'm using my other fingers to just gently rotate and loosen it off. So flipping hell, God knows how I'm going to get the bastard back on. Oh, yeah, it's pretty tight in there. God knows how we're going to get it back on, but we'll figure it out. So what we're going to do now, team, is we've got the lines undone for this left side turbo. So you can see just there, the top little hose there and the bottom one. Those are the two holes, where my finger is here. Those are the two holes for where the turbo lines go onto. And they're just these little suckers here. So this is the lower one, the lower hose. And this is the upper hose. It goes this way. Ah, shit. Yeah. And it has also the plastic connector. Now these hoses actually are fine, but we've got to remove them if we're pulling the water pump off, which I think we will be. I'm just going to try and undo those last two lines and get them undone, so we can pull those lines out and start removing the bank 2 lines. They're going to be a little bit of a mish to get off, I imagine. They're just down here, so we'll pull these off and there's just one final bracket. Make sure you put a cloth down there because you're going to drop that socket, and if you drop it there and now, you're going to lose it. So make sure you put a cloth in before you do that. Maybe we'll take this out of the way. This sort of sound deadening for the injectors. Away you go, son. Come on, get out of there. Move that out of the way. Yeah, we're going to have to somehow try and get enough room down there to pry those lines off, because it was a flippin' bastard just getting those ones off, and there was plenty more room this side. So I'm just going to do it off camera, team. I'll report back when it's done. I'll save you the grueling hours it's probably going to take. Not touching wood because it will take hours, I'm pretty sure. And then yeah, there's just, as I say, there's just one, you can just see it down here, there's just one more little retaining clamp that holds those lines there in place. So I'm going to give them a good wiggle and hopefully we can break them free. I'll spray some penetrating oil in there as well. Cool. Team, we've got this last coolant hose out of its housing. There we go. This side's definitely flipping hard to get to. Very, very hard to get to. Probably one of the tightest jobs I've done to date. The ABC pump on the S600 was also hard as well, actually, but this is a different sort of tightness, and there's so much more stuff in this motor. You've got bloody AC lines, you've got oil for cooler lines, you've got evap lines, you've got the vacuum line for the booster, for the boost on the back turbocharger, for the actuator. Oh shit. Okay, all up it was about an hour, I'd say an hour and 15 minutes to get these two lines out. Just as you saw, I pulled the ABC pump off and just a little bit in between, but you can see these lines, they just get a bit corroded and yucky. They're just a bitch to pull out. This one sheared off right at the actual this one sheared off right at the actual water pump, so I'll show you that soon. In fact, we could probably pull it out with it intact. If we get a little bit of grip on it, we might be able to just pull it naturally out, because I've undone the hose for it. Oh yeah, there we go. So that's the part that goes into the water pump, and then that's the pipe that goes out. And you'll see it's so brittle, I literally just cracked it with my little pick here, pulling it out. It's just got a little amount there. So it's just garbage, like it's just plastic. Cycled garbage. Hey, it's a miraculous thing that it lasts as long as it does anyway, to be honest. Not giving it any crap, but it is a pain in the ass anyway. But all good, we've got them out. You can get them out, you don't have to remove the engine. Now, I don't know if that's the same on a 212. It might even be tighter on a 212. This is a bigger car. Let me know if you've done this as well. But anyway, so what we're gonna do now, team, is I'm just gonna start probably removing the water pump. Our lines are out, both banks down there. What we've got now, so our lines, oh yeah, that one's still a bit stuck in there, isn't it? If I get the camera team down here, you'll see there's our fittings. That is where things are happening. There's like nothing, there's not even holes in there. I don't even know what the hell they do, to be honest. Anyway, but yeah, we've got to basically remove the water pump, and we're just going to install a new gasket. So the current water pump has no play in the pulley. It's not noisy, it's fine. I'd still replace it if I could, but the customer doesn't want to. So we've just got a brand new genuine gasket for it. And you can see here we've got the holes of the thing lined up. Now to get to these bolts, you do need some deep reaching Torxes. Don't even know where I put them now. They're just here, yeah, sorry. So deep reaching Torx screws just to get to some of these ones, like the one right behind the harmonic balancer here, which you don't have to remove from what I can tell, thank goodness, because it would just be lovely if we had to remove that. One thing I'm worried about is the thermostat. I really don't want to pull it off. I really don't want to pull it off the actual car, but looking at it, I am going to have to. Yeah, I'm going to have to, because I don't want to break it. To remove it, I believe it's just, from what I can tell, the ABC pump's been leaking or weeping oil, because there's no other oil feed up here. There's obviously been some sort of leak from the ABC pump, which explains why it's low on fluid, which I've since topped up anyway. But yeah, there's a bit going on with this bloody thing. But I think there's 3 bolts in total. So what we're going to do first actually is, yeah, remove this thermostat. So we've pulled the, well, I thought I pulled that harness off. Obviously not. We'll pull that harness off and get that thermostat off. And we're just going to be very, very, very gentle. And in saying that, if that thermostat looks cooked, I'm going to ask the customer to replace it, because we're not risking putting it back on and it just cracking and leaking on fluid everywhere. Right team, so we've got the thermostat off. I've got the new water pump gasket out. And I've just traced and marked with X's all of the bolt holes, because it's very likely the bolts in here are all different sizes, so make sure you do that. And then as you get them out, just use a tool like, God, where is it? Ah, here it is. Use a tool like this and just punch each hole. Then stick your screw in it, stick your bolt in it. Done. So the thermostat's out. It's all pretty clean in there. This upper coolant hose has a little bit of corrosion on it, so I'll try to give that a little clean up. Again, I'd buy a brand new one if it was my car. Never mind. Thermostat doesn't seem to be cracked or destroyed. It is the original 2015, so yeah, it'd be good to replace it. I mean, mine, the thermostat itself, it's got no obvious damage. I just don't know if this clip here is supposed to be further down than these other ones. See, these other ones reach the bottom. That's a little bit concerning. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like that. But to be honest, I think from watching a video from Tassos Machatos, try to say his name right. Tassos in his video recently showed a thermostat where I believe he removed the majority of that. I think it was for a tuned car. I'll need to remember the video, but he's got lots of M157 videos, and he basically modified the thermostat. I don't think you'd apply it to a car like this because it's stock. You know, you don't necessarily, you're not tracking this car or anything. That one looks fine. I might just check some more videos before we reinstall it. So far, I haven't seen any cracks to signify that it's broken or it's failing. So that's good. Also, the inside of the water pump so far looks clean. So anyway, let's get the bolts off and get it off the car so we can get this thing finally flipped the other way around and back installing everything so she's running again. Oh, actually, new shipment. There's our nice new genuine wiring harness for the front left door. So we're going to put this back together first, then do that. And I'm praying to God, Mercedes gods, that fixes the problem with the door. Otherwise, we're in trouble. We've got to keep troubleshooting. Let's continue. Water pump's fully out. Just clean the surface a little bit. So we're just going to leave it like that now and start reassembling in reverse order with our new gasket. And there's a specific bolt pattern I'll show you on workshop manual shortly. How to put this back in the right order. Make sure everything goes back together properly. Just put a bit of plastic over the alternator just for overnight, just in case any water drips through into it. And yeah, so here's our old water pump and the old gasket. if we look closely, the water pump wasn't leaking from what I can sort of tell. There's no real clear or obvious signs of any sort of water paths coming through anywhere, so we could have left the water pump in there, to be honest, but you know, hey, we've taken it out now and we'll reseal it at least, so it's good to go. But ultimately it's actually in good condition, at least what I think it is. So that's the old gasket there. Again, looks pretty good to me. Yeah, this pump's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. No play on the pulley there. No, it's good as gold. Yep, cool. Okay, well, it's going to save us, all the clients, some money, and we know it's in good condition. So yeah, we'll clean that up with some brake cleaner, install our new gasket, and then start installing the pump back in place. And this is basically the point that everything goes back the other way. So it's been a bit of a flippin' mish. We've probably spent so far about 6 hours in total getting to this point. Again, first M157 I've done this on. Bit of a mish, but good learning so far. Definitely not doing it to the standard I'd like to do it. Like even just stuff like this broken bloody coolant pipe here, I'd rather replace that with brand new bits. I'd rather replace some of these pulleys here just for the sake of it while we're in here. People are on budget, they don't want to spend money, that's fine. We'll do our best, but at least we've got the water pump off, we've got the turbo lines off, and we've got our brand new ones ready to go in. Down in here, brand new genuine hoses. So I think the trickiest part of this reinstall will pretty much just be getting the bolts back in on each bank for the turbo lines. I think everything else will be pretty quick and straight. Well, I won't say quick, but pretty straightforward. Putting my finger on a 4-hour reassembly time, hopefully. Anyway, team, going to bed. See you soon. Right, team, water pump's ready to go back in. I've just cleaned it up gently with some brake cleaner, and yeah, it's not perfect, but it'll be fine. Also clean the mating surfaces here, so let's get our gasket in and get her reinstalled. Here's our bolt plan, and this is on the Mercedes Star system, so this is for your reference. So first bolt we put in is this bottom right one, then our opposite top left, and then just slowly work our way around. Generally what I'll do is I'll first get them all just hand tight, so barely any pressure on them, and then I'll go through and torque them all, and they've torqued in 2 stages. So we've got an M7 and an M8, 5 and 10 and 20, 5 and 14, sorry, and 10 and 20. So there's a very specific procedure to follow, so we need to make sure we follow that procedure, and that is coolant pump, coolant thermostat. Now, yeah, again, make sure you're looking at the right engine. 157, stage 1, 2 Newton meters, which is literally hand tight, and then stage 2, 14, and then just 20 on stage 1. So just make sure you get that right, team. And then also it shows you here what ones are, which are M7 and which are M8. So the B's are M7s and the A's are M8s. That's useful as well. So we've got our new gasket ready to go. It'll just clip into the back of the pump here, and then we can install it on the motor here, get this thing put back together. So yeah, it's not clean, like it's clean enough. I've got all our little mounting holes all cleaned up, and our thermostat housing's all nice and shiny, but the rest of it's pretty caked on there. I don't have time, the client's not paying for a lot of time for me to make it mint, so we're just doing what needs to be done as a minimum to keep it happy. So let's continue. So we've got the water pump in, torqued down. It's basically a pattern of like bolt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Working our way around, it's bolts 12, 13, 14 and 15 are bigger size. They're M8 bolts, and they use this size, which is a T45. the long reach, and we're just torquing those down. So basically hand tighten them in order. It says 2 Newton meters. Obviously we don't really have a torque wrench for 2 Newton meters, at least I don't. But that's basically just hand tightened so they're not loose. And then then straight after that, torque 12, 13, 14 and 15 to 20 Newton meters. So the big ones, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're doing stage 2, which is only the M7 bolts, and they are all down to 14 Newton meters. So that's all done now. Everything's in place, solid. I've clipped back the bottom radiator hose and make sure it's clipped into place so it doesn't fall off or blow off. So we're making good progress. Now we're going to put back, I think straight away, team, we're going to get back into these new lines, these new radiator lines. This one here is for bank 1. So we've got one of them here. I assume it's this way at a guess. But yeah, we've got that one, and we've got, this is the opposite side from memory, the opposite side lower line, I think. You can see it's got that ghastly plastic that snaps after a period of time, whereas this hose is pretty much solid. It's a good quality hose. It's just metal bonded to rubber flexible hose, so that one's fine. So we're going to start with the lower hoses first, and just to aid getting them in there first, I'm just going to quickly wipe the bores where they go into on the turbos. They'll be clean already, but I just want to make sure, so I'm just going to stick a little bit of cloth in there, maybe with some brake cleaner on it, and then I'm also going to use a bit of Vaseline to lube up the ends when I put them in so that they slot in easier. I'm expecting them to go in easier than when it took to get them out. They usually go in pretty easy from memory, like we did on the V12. Very similar style of turbo cooler lines with a little O-ring going into a metal connections. It should be all good. But yeah, clean them out quickly and then we'll start installing them. And thankfully they already have their O-rings in place, so that's good. And good also to keep these little stop plugs. So don't throw stuff like that away, team. Keep it on hand because you can collect stop plugs, and then you'll have a collection available to use for plugging things like oil cooler holes and stuff one day, so you don't have to go and buy any special tools or anything. Sweet, so let's get into it. Right, so those left-hand bank lines are in, and we've got the bolt torque just slightly down. That one goes in there. This one sticks out the opposite way. You're basically connecting, where's our ABC line? Here he is here. Yeah, he's separate, that's fine. I was checking something. And you're basically connecting them down here. And basically on that piece there goes this part. So he faces that way, he connects there to that pipe, and then this sucker here goes into that feed hole there, and then this, where the yellow marker is there, it plugs into that hose, right? But before you do that, team, you've got to put the bank 2 back on. You can't put it in straight away because the bank 2 feed lines have to go in first. We've got the lower one here, and that just snakes through here under the back of the below the wastegate actuator, around the back here, and then this one plugs into the front of that there, see? So in theory you would be putting, if we just make sure we're correct here, I believe the bottom one would go in first, and if you look here, the lines cross over, the bolts go in the same hole there. Sorry, I'm just putting you on my neck. Yeah. You can just see the length of that shaft there compared to the length of that shaft. So this one sits on the top. The top sits on the top, The bottoms goes in first. So we need to put that bottom one in first, team, and then we'll put the top one in. So again, we're just going to put a bit of Vaseline on it, and we're just going to gently push it in. I've cleaned the hole out with my finger with some microfiber and brake cleaner. It's pretty clean in there. If you put your finger in, you can feel how clean the bore is. It's fine though. So just a little bit of Vaseline on there like that, and then we'll just weave this sucker in. And this is the lower hose, so it's the closest to the block, and then the other one from memory sits on the outside of it. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct, I believe. There's also a bracket that sits on the turbocharger that we pulled off earlier. You can just see the little hole for it there. That also is used to secure the brackets and the lines in place. I've got it here actually, this little bracket here with one single screw, but we'll put that on later. First we'll just fit the lines, and we'll just make sure we don't tighten anything yet, because we want everything in position before we tighten everything, just in case we stuff something up, because we don't want to have to pull a line out again. So quick update, team. Put everything mostly back together, all the sort of the gutsy bits of it. Thermostats in, torque down to 2 Nm stage 1, and then stage 2 was 14 from memory. Let me check that for you guys. Was it 14? I think it was 14 Newton meters on these bolts here. So 14 on them, and then it was 20 on these ABC bolts, 20 on the 4 big mounting bolts down here. And when we do put our line back on here, this will be torqued to 9 Newton meters. Make sure you don't forget this one. Also make sure when you put the thermostat in, you're just careful you don't damage the little boost line here. Okay, cool. Now this is our ABC pump. So you gotta be careful with where that sits, because you might find that now I can't get that cable back in properly, so I'm gonna have to just wiggle it around a little bit. But yeah, that goes back into your ABC pump for your I think it's called the suction valve from memory. I think it just regulates the pressure. We've put all of our little connectors back in. Back in, that's good. The one around here as well is back in, down here, yep. We've zip tied, fresh zip tie on here, just to make sure everything's nice and secure. We've reconnected our little, or I should say our big plastic retaining clamp for the AC lines. This is back clipped in place. The little, I don't know what that is, but it's like a little dead end sort of thing with a knob on the end of it that's clipped back onto the heat shield. We also have, team, our, you probably can't see it anymore, but right down there you can just see a little bracket that holds our 2 turbo lines in place. So we've done really well. We've got everything pretty much there. I'm ready to put the belt back on, so we just need to put the pulley back on first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the belt back on and take the pulley back on. I'm just going to be very gentle in terms of putting the belt back on first, without necessarily putting this bolts in for the pulley cover. I'm just going to have one in there lightly, then I'm going to take it out again, so that when we install the fan shroud with the electric fan in it, it's just less stuff in the way. It should be hopefully easy to get back in now. Move our fan harness out of the way. Yeah, there's our ABC line. I'll probably end up zip tying this ABC line. So we'll move all this stuff forward, we'll move it all up into this area here, so we've got like plenty of room to slot the fan back in place. Then we've got our hose to put back in, and then, team, we're sort of done. We just need to put these back in place, our charge pipes. I've given this one a nice little clean. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was, covered in dirt, so we might do the others too quickly. So that's good, so we're not too far off, so we'll just keep cracking into it. got the car back together. What a fucking mission. I'm sorry, just gotta say it. Like, actually, what a mission that was. Again, if I do it again now, I know what I'm doing. But man, what a flippin' complicated engine, eh? Just so many tight things to get to, and like, it's not impossible, but it's just, you know, you don't want to rush, you just want to take your time. And I felt like I was rushing towards the end because I just needed to get it done. But all the parts are in, like, I haven't missed anything. All the parts are in. There's a few little bits left over there, so I'm happy in that respect. So what we're going to do now is just start her up. Hopefully everything's all good, and then we're going to just keep topping up the coolant, which is a little bit low, so we'll just keep filling that up. But if we just do one final check for goodwill so we don't destroy everything, just make sure those belts are good, belts are on the alternator, water pump, crank, the tensioner. God, it shows you how much, so little room there is in this motor. Yep, good, okay, we're all good. We're good to go. Just going to give it a little gentle crank first. Just going to raise the car a little bit. Just so it doesn't like try and do anything with the suspension while it's on the hoist. Cool, that's good. I'm just going to give it a quick crank and turn it off again. Cool. That's good. It fired straight away. Obviously there's not a lot of pressure in there or anything. Hoses are on. Sounded good though. Sounded good straight away. Oh, actually, sorry team, before we forget, make sure we just apply a little bit of pressure here in the ABC chamber. So about 1.5 bar pressure, so about 20 psi, just a little bit, and we're just making sure we're priming the ABC pump, which controls the curve system because it runs at quite high temperature. So that's good, cool, plenty of fluid in there. So I'll just apply a bit to that now, and then we'll start her up again. Right team, she's running all good. Everything's torqued down safely. Just keep your hands clear of that big sucker there, don't get your hand jammed in it. Everything's good, ABC's flowing, so that's good. Engine sounds good. Now we've just got to wait for it to get up to pressure and hope to flippin' God there's no leaks. But there really shouldn't be. We're very careful when we put it back together, so she should be good as gold. We just need to be mindful that there's not a lot of coolant in there, so I need to top it up a bit more. But I'm going to get her out of here a little bit so I can at least start putting that wiring harness in and getting her wrapped up and done. Right team, I'm running really late behind on everything, so I'm just going to unfortunately smash this out without videoing and talking too much. Or maybe fortunately. But here's our new harness for the car. So for now I'm just going to literally plug it in and rig it up directly onto the connector here before I do anything else. It's just not worth. I just want to make sure I'm dead set certain before I go and re-rig the whole door. Also, I'm thinking about it, I've also got to be mindful. See, there's the harness there. I've got to be mindful of what goes where. Yeah, so that's that harness there. There's this weird harness here, don't know what it does, but it's got some strange bloody strange connector on it. So we'll figure that out. And yeah, but this is the old harness here with the burnt out insides. I'm just really hoping this fixes it. I'm scared it's not going to fix it, but we'll find out. So let's go. This is what a proper Kiwi summer is, team. Nice, well, blue sky, getting cloudy. As you just saw the video, we were just working on the GLE. So we've put the new door harness on. That's what I thought was the main culprit. So this is the old door harness here. Obviously it's all sort of, you probably can't see it on the camera that well, but it's all burnt out and pretty crap. So we put a new harness in, and I am flippin' happy to say we've got progress. The mirrors work. The window goes up and down, as you can see. The speaker works. I think we are back in business. So what we've got to do is we're going to just move her out a bit, and we're going to take this door panel off here, because we've got a whole collection of wires hiding behind this plug. A little bit of a pain in the ass, but then what? We're going to get it finished. And when I was thinking about it, this purple wire here, that purple wire, if I'm not mistaken, will actually be what runs the camera system, the 360-degree camera. I can test that as well. But yeah, so happy. I was really probably 50-50 on whether we would have actually fixed it with the harness, or if it was maybe the harness in the actual body of the car perhaps. So that's absolutely awesome. Key not detected, that's good. But yeah, so we'll pull it out a little bit, and we'll keep working on pulling that door card off. Right team, so we've got the door module or the card back in, and it's a bit of a tricky job, to be honest. It's a lot more harder than I thought it would be. And also you've got to put the door handle back in, right? So your door holds on, because you haven't seen this side, the door holds on by these two Torx screws here, and there's just little grooves, so this door handle slips forward and into the door frame. Then you basically to get that off for a start, and to get the door handle off, you've got to take the little grommet off here, and there's a little Torx screw, and you basically want to loosen it until it tightens again, which is quite contradictory sounding. But you turn it left and it goes loose, and then it goes tight. Then you can pull this door handle off, as I did before. To put it back in, crikey, to put it back in, you're initially going to have this harness here probably sitting in here flapping around, and you're not going to be able to stick this back in, because when you stick this in here, this here pivots into the door as you pull and close the handle. So to actually get this handle back on, make sure that this clip here is pressed into the sort of right hand, see that little white tab hitting the black plastic? It's like a little groove that basically allows you to easily install the handle. If you don't do that, you're never going to get the handle back on. That's your first point there, and yeah, it clips in like that. There you go, easy as that. And then your door handle just clips back into place, so that you can then, I think actually, yep, sorry team, wrong. The door handle clips back into place, but you see there's little grooves here within the door. I need to use probably a pulling tool. I'll do it off camera, but you need to pull. There's pins in there. You need to pull them and align them and make sure they're sitting in those grooves, and then you can close the door. So right now we can't do it like that. So I'm gonna do it off camera because I can't do it two-handed. But get these grooves back installed, and the door will be installed, and then we can go back inside, put the flippin' lining in, and be done with this bloody car. I'm sick of it. So much work. Good learning, great learning, but so much bloody work. Actually, just before we do that, far out, honestly, before we do that, just wanted to mention these two covers here. When you're removing the door module, you might have seen me do it on camera, you need to lower the window before you unplug the power supply, and you'll see basically the rails going down. You'll see two T30s come into view. Those are the ones you want to slacken off. You don't have to remove them, slacken them off, and make sure you've obviously got tape like I had holding the window up, And then once you've slackened them off, that allows this whole piece, plus the little brackets that hold the glass, to come away and fall out of the car. Obviously your glass is going to be floating in midair at that point, so make sure it doesn't fall. But those are hidden behind here, and those are now, obviously I've covered those up, so that's all good. So yep, let's continue. Right folks, this is a door that's made me laugh, cry, every sort of emotion there is. Absolute fair income flippin' nutsack bloody door this is. Well sorry, no. Me, the operator obviously, in this case. But holy shit, what a complicated bloody door this is. Fuck. Oh, crikey. I've literally had the thing off and on 3 times. First, the flipping window didn't secure properly, which again would be my fault. Second, the door harness wasn't going in properly, so I had to take the window out again and get it connected. Third was, the door handle was only coming to about here for some reason. And on the door module, where the wire is, the cable is, there's 2 brackets you can put it in, a lower one and an upper one. And of course, I would have had it in the lower one, which obviously makes it slightly less long, and then therefore the door didn't work. Of course I would do that. So moved it up, and then sort of got there in the end. Then this little square tab thing here, we probably saw at the start of part 1, there's a little square tab. God knows why they just didn't use a bloody screw, but they used some stupid square retaining clip. That's literally the first time I've ever seen it on any Mercedes-Benz. Assume it's only on this as well. So whatever, honest to God, I'm sick to death of it. Now I've done it, obviously, I can have that door off and the whole window out in probably 15 minutes, you know. But it's just that first time doing it, But anyway, team, look, at the end of the day, everything's working. If we just check things quickly. Got our window working. Thank God. Yep, thank God it works. Crikey. Honestly, I'm just waiting for something to break again. Right, team, door handles back in business. Little grommets installed again. So we're all good there. Door was working, now it's not. Here we go. Just got to trigger that thing on it. What I am going to do quickly, team, is just give it a nice clean, as I mentioned. Give it a vac first, vac it all up, and then we'll just give the interior a little wipe over with some cleaner. And it's not necessarily its tidiest, so we'll just give it a nice little tidy up. Just quickly, I've already spent far too much time on this car, but we'll send it off looking good. Right, team, we're just driving, giving the car a road test, checking she's all good. Everything's in fine order. Temperature's holding just below 90, about 87, which is about correct. Everything works now. We've even got our Distronic Plus with active lane assist working. Back in 2015 they had this. It was a sort of an early model. So you can see that lit up now, the little green steering wheel. So now the steering wheel will drive by itself, turn by itself to maintain those lanes. So that's all working. Our mirrors and things all work. Our door cards work. Everything works. So what I had to do was actually take apart the car side wiring harness, pull all the pins out and clean them with a wire brush and electrical connector cleaner, because I was still having issues with it working properly. In the end, team, that's what I did off camera just before, and the door seems to now be fine. Everything seems to be working properly, so that's good to see. But this car is honestly, it's a lovely, yes, I need to fill the coolant up a little bit. just got an air light now coming up for it. It's probably, so now obviously that we've driven it a bit and it's, the coolant's gotten into the system, obviously the air's gotten out, so now we just got to put a bit more coolant in, top her up. So yeah, no, that's all good. So we'll do that when we get back. Yeah, no doubt, lovely vehicle. Like, to be honest, I actually like this car a little bit. I actually like it. It's quiet. Well, apart from in Sport Plus, you know, it's quiet, it's comfortable, and it's got a, I forgot that the 2012 to 2017 Mercedes AMGs all have that lovely, whoa, turn the music down. All have that lovely, obnoxiously loud exhaust system from factory, and this one does as well. So obviously we only do this when the car's warmed up, so you've got your AMG drive system here. There it is. So make sure everything's warmed up, nothing's in the blues, and then you can give it a thing. But honestly, I forgot to how good it sounds. So in Sport Plus, it's got the backfires. I don't know if you can hear it if I turn the aircon off as well. Probably hear that. Wow. Like, whoa. Oh my God. Now we're gentle, obviously we want to, it's not obviously my car specifically, so we just take it nice and easy still. But as long as you've warmed her up, you know, and everything's running fine, the odd pull's not bad for an AMG, obviously. It keeps everything nice and warm. Wow, even by itself, team, in drive, it'll still backfire on downshifts in Sport Plus. What I'd say about it is it's a very dynamic car. Oh, it's got the lovely turbo sound as well. I do miss the 157. It's not my favorite AMG engine. It's probably down the bottom mostly, but oh, it sounds good. Anyway, team, on private property now, so obviously I can talk on the phone, holding the phone at my face. This job's been a bastard. If you were doing the job yourself, obviously, and you're new to it, like I am, DIYing mechanic, obviously I've done this for 5 or 6 years now, so I'm sort of past DIY, you could say, but I would suggest to do the turbo job, you're going to really need a good 10, 11 hours to do it properly, right? You can do it quicker, obviously, no doubt, and if I did it again now, I'd probably say I'd do it about 7 hours. On the workshop books, it says, I think it was 6 hours roughly, but that was for each pipe. Now, obviously, if you're doing all 4 of them, you're not going to need 6 hours for each of them. You're just going to need, you know, the first 4 hours getting in, then a couple hours replacing it, and then, you know, a few other ones to replace. Oh, these dogs have got out again. Fuck. Bastards. You can do that sort of thing. If you're doing the door like I've done here, I doubt anyone would. I think my thing was a bit of an anomaly. I wouldn't expect anyone else to have this the issue with the door card playing up. But if you do, hopefully my video had some good tips in it you can follow going forward, but you could do that comfortably, replace the door harness like I did, and pull the thing off in about 3 hours. But I've spent a lot of time, a good 7 or 8 hours in terms of diagnostics, and then also further troubleshooting and further cleaning the terminals on the harness here. It's a major job. The first time. Now I know what I'm doing, I could do it a lot faster. We're all back home, team. We've got a lovely upcoming team V12 S600. Might already be on the channel depending how old this video is when you see it. Subscriber's beautiful V12, just like my one, but a facelifted 221, which is gorgeous. And I've got a little Porsche Boxer there as well, actually, that I'm just driving for fun. It's not mine, it's part of a car membership thing group I'm in. Don't have time to blow money on cars. Got enough money to spend fixing these ones. Happy. Lights on. Successful mission, team. The door, as I say, was playing up when I was opening and closing it before, but it seems to be fixed now. Cleaning so sorry to blab on because I do. Turn her off. Oh. This will be my light. So you see here, team, the door, this in here, right? You'll remember from part 1, this is the connector that sucks onto the door harness, which is inside the door here. Now, before when I fixed it, we'll put it back together, the door would intermittently, the lights would go out, and so they wouldn't flicker, but they would go out, so the whole door would keep losing power. And when I wobbled the door harness around, you could see the voltage fluctuating on the multimeter. When you're flicking it around, you would expect to see the wires are bending and causing issues, but the connector is stuck together, so how could it cause any issues? It's stuck together, the terminals are all in place and all the pins in place. But hey, I've taken that connector apart. I used electric connector cleaner. I used, as I mentioned, copper wire brush wire wheel on my multi-tool, and I cleaned those terminals right up. They were very blue and corroded, and that seems to have fixed it, which doesn't sort of make sense to me because the terminals are always connected when they're in the harness. So regardless of whether you wobble or open or close the door, it shouldn't matter. But it did in this case. So if you're ever having an issue like that, clean the terminals, check they're clean. Anyway, team, I've given it a little just quick spruce up as well, as I might have mentioned before. It was honestly filthy. The back seats even had some like paint marks on the back here. So I've removed all that. It's still far from clean, or up to my standard, but it's a lot nicer. So it's had a little bit of a birthday, but honestly I'm sick to death of it. I'm ready for it to go back to its home, and hopefully we never see it again. But it's been a fun car. It's been a lot of learning for us. Let's see what other M157s we have come up soon. Anyway, team, thanks for watching. See you later.